Good day, my YouTube family. Now, I have bits and pieces of news here. So, I'm just going to join them together so you guys can go and listen to what they're really saying right now. I'm tired, so I can't get the chance to read no news separately. So, just enjoy and tell me what you think. So, please like, share, and subscribe. God bless you all.
Something about NARA, the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, which was passed as legislation in both houses of Parliament a couple of weeks ago. The opposition had opposed the legislation in its current form, as we made very clear, not because we're against trying to expedite projects and national development, but because this entity is being set up. She's going to have control over the spending of billions and billions of dollars of resources. But the way in which it was being set up lacked basic norms about accountability. So the only person that the legislation contemplates expressly is a CEO who's appointed by the Prime Minister as the minister responsible for NARA, and there's no board of directors in place to provide oversight over the decisions and operations of the entity itself. This is a public body being created by statute with no public board. It's an aberration, and we think it's a major flaw in the design of this legislation, given the importance of the functions and the level of resources over which NARA will have control. It's unfortunate that the Prime Minister has recently been saying things that the entities within our society that have raised concerns about that issue and other issues, because there are other issues affecting this legislation, are somehow motivated by some adverse or malicious intent, as if they're politically motivated in pointing out the weaknesses in the legislation. The reality is that the NARA legislation is problematic in its current form and needs to be amended. A board needs to be appointed. This committee that they're seeking to establish, which they call JAMROC, is not mentioned in the legislation. The legislation doesn't even facilitate the sharing of information with JAMROC by NARA. The powers that are given to NARA and to the minister, who's the PM, to issue directions to public bodies that are responsible for regulating projects, stepping in to take over the decision-making process and vary it as the government may see fit at a given point in time, with no transparency around those decisions, no need to publish them. The reports aren't being sent to Parliament to be invigilated by a committee of the whole House, as is done for Bank of Jamaica now. These are structural flaws that should be corrected. But it's very unfortunate when you see a Prime Minister impugning motives, negative motives, to persons who are standing up as citizens of the country on a matter of grave concern and raising their voices to see improvements to the legislation. It's a red flag that something is fundamentally wrong with what is happening. And that is what I wanted to share with you today.
This time, you're going to hear from Zuleika Jest. So, just stay tuned.
Realize that you're important in Jamaican politics when a simple traffic court matter becomes breaking news. I'm glad I've been able to help social media reach its drama quota for this week. On a serious note though, now that the matter has been disposed of by the court, I can speak to you about it freely and publicly. Sometime in or around March of this year, my driver had an incident with the police. I will start with the aspect that is least controversial and very much unproblematic. So he was asked to produce the vehicle documents, and he did, at which point it was noted to him that the insurance as well as the fitness had expired a few days prior. Naturally, he reaches out to me. I was not in the vehicle at the time, so he calls me on the telephone. I do not personally handle certain administrative matters, and it's not because I'm in politics. I've been running a business since I'm 22 years old. I have an office, I have a staff, I have bureau. I do not personally go to the tax office to buy a fitness certificate or take a vehicle to the depot to get it tested. You have persons who actually handle those things. So I said to him, give me a few, let me make a quick call, because I'm sure that the instructions were given for the documents to be renewed. Let me make a quick call so that we can get copies and send to your phone. Long story short, I called the driver back shortly after that, only for him to tell me that he was being given a ticket for using the telephone with me in connection with the matter. I said to him, that's fine, take the ticket and come. He comes home and I realize that he is visibly overwhelmed. He is extremely emotional. And I couldn't understand why, because at that point I had already been sent copies of the renewed documents. So I wasn't sure why he was taking it all so hard, only for him to point out to me that apparently it was the conduct of the officers towards him, the way they treated him, the way they spoke to him in such a disrespectful manner, treated him like a criminal, said very distasteful things about me, even though I wasn't even in contact with them. I had no form of interaction whatsoever. I didn't even know them at the time of the incident. So he was quite emotional about the exchange that took place. Somebody in my position, I'm accustomed to people being disrespectful. It comes with the political territory. But the truth is, I've always taken an exception to those who sit in positions of authority and abuse that position simply because they are dealing with persons who they deem to be below them or inferior to them. Against that background, I reached out to the senior police in charge and made mention of the events as recounted to me by my driver. Let me be clear, at no point did I complain about the tickets that were given to the driver. My complaints centered around the conduct of the female officers in question. And I'm happy that I sent my complaint via WhatsApp, and so the written proof is there. I never complained, I never raised an issue about the traffic tickets because that was not a problem. The issue has always been about the conduct of the officers. Now, the response that I got from the High Command was essentially to say to me that, boy, it is the word of your driver against the word of the police, and the officers are not going to admit that they made the remarks that your driver said they made, and they're not going to admit that they behaved in any way that was unbecoming. So in other words, what I understood him to be saying is that you're on your own. It's nothing will come of this. And so I said, okay, and I left it there. But the truth is, it didn't sit well with me. And so I made a public post, and I asked the public whether they knew the officers in question and what was their experience, whether they had any encounters with the officers. To my surprise, the post went viral. Hundreds of persons started to comment and share the negative experiences that they've had. Persons weren't complaining about the tickets that they were getting. They were complaining about the conduct, the way that the officers treat the traveling public. And one of the comments that stood out to me, it was actually a direct message that was sent to me by a medical doctor. And he recounted the fact that he was on the phone with a nurse dealing with a patient that was in medical distress. He works in the government system. He's trying to help. And so he's on the phone giving medical instructions when the same police officer, female police officer, stopped him, gave him a ticket, even though he told the officer he was on the phone with the nurse trying to sort out a medical emergency. But the issue for him also was not about the ticket. It was about the disrespectful and the rude remarks and the comments and conduct of the officer in question. I say all of this to say that it is important to note that this matter has never had anything to do with traffic tickets. In fact, even when I made the post, I never spoke about any traffic ticket because it's neither here nor there. The concern has always been about the conduct of the officers in question. Now, be that as it may, when you get a traffic ticket, there are two things that can happen. Either you pay the traffic ticket online or you go to court and you dispute the ticket. Initially, we decided that we would have disputed the ticket because of the circumstances. And so we went to court. By the way, it was after I made the post that the police contacted me to say that they were also charging me for the same offenses that the driver had been charged for, the same traffic offenses. Again, neither here nor there. I work in the court system. You can't frighten me by threatening to take me before the court because I've made a public post complaining about the conduct of your officers. Anyways, be that as it may, we decided that we would have gone to court and deal with it by way of a trial. Got to court yesterday only to find out that the earliest trial date available for a simple traffic court matter is all the way in September. And even with it being set for September, there's no guarantee that the matter would get off the ground on that first date because of the length of the list, the number of cases before the court. So it means that we would have to be going back and forth in order to have the matter tried. Truth is, my driver doesn't even work with me anymore. That day that the incident happened was his last day on the job. So for him to be leaving, to come back into the constituency, leaving his place of work, for him to come back and forth in order to have this matter tried, for me to also take the time off when you all know how busy I am dealing with the various issues that we have to deal with, we decided as a matter of expediency that we would simply enter a plea of guilt and have the matter disposed of on that very same day. Because the truth is, when you are before the courts, you can do two things, one of two things. Either you're going to plead guilty, pay the fine, and just have the matter come to an end, or you can plead not guilty and then go back and forth in order to have the matter tried. Unfortunately, even though as a matter of principle, I would have loved to take the option where I go back and forth and have the matter come to a resolution by way of trial, I did not have the time. I still do not have the luxury of time to engage in that method. And so we decided to bring the matter to a close yesterday. So, long story short, in a nutshell, yesterday, I contributed to the courts in Balaclava, unlike the government that is still yet to contribute any of the disaster relief fund towards the courts. What is the government waiting for?
In addition, now you're going to hear Ian Hayles, the MP somewhere down in Westmoreland. So, thank you and bye. Now remember to like, share and subscribe.
Ian Hayles here, your Member of Parliament, Western Westmoreland. Good morning to each and every one of you, and happy Sunday morning, and blessings and protection for the new week ahead. Why am I coming to you this morning? So, for months now, your home was assessed by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, and a lot of you haven't heard anything back as yet, because we have two issues. One is your home was assessed, you're not hearing nothing yet, one. And two is your home was assessed and you got the call for payment, but there's an issue with your TRN. We're going to be dealing with the TRN now. Is you may come out right now in terms of your TRN. So this is what's going to happen. This Thursday and Friday, June 18th and 19th, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security will be at the Bay Road Christian Fellowship Church. Start time 9 o'clock. Come early if you deal with your business. So once again, it's for those that your TRN is not allowing your payments to be processed. All right, this is what I want you to walk with. I want you to walk with your ID, your TRN number, your bank card, proof of address, and national ID. If you don't have a bank account, still come. Jamaica National will be there, NCB, BNS, VMBS, and Sagicor Bank will be there to open an account for you if you don't have one. So, let me repeat. June 18th and 19th, this Thursday and Friday coming, for those citizens of Little London and Delftland. I don't want Grangeville to show up. I don't want Sheffield to show up. I don't want Negril to show up. This is for Delftland and Little London and surrounding communities. I'll be announcing a date for those areas for Grangeville, Sheffield, and Little London. You're not supposed to come. I'll be announcing your date pretty soon. So this date, June 18th and 19th, is for Little London and Delftland. That's who should be at this meeting this Thursday and Friday to deal with the issues of payment. Nobody else. I just want to say though, for those of you who were assessed and you're not get nothing yet and you're not hear nothing yet, a date will be announced by me for you in the near future. So I don't want you to come. The only set of people that must come to this one is for those that have TRN issues. A list will be published tomorrow Monday, on social media with those that we expect to see Thursday and Friday. I want you to understand me. Look, I understand that you got damage in the hurricane and you want to put your life back together. But I think this is a good start for those of you who have tearing issue to be dealt with once and for all now. So, see you Thursday and Friday, 9 a.m. start time. If all of you can come Thursday, make we deal with all of your issues. Once again, thank you. Happy Sunday morning. Let me reiterate, this Thursday and Friday, we'll be meeting at Christian Fellowship Church on Bay Road. It's on Bay Road, 9 a.m. I want you to walk with your TRN. I want you to walk with your ID, your bank card, proof of address, even a bill where them say you're paying. If you can get that, walk with it too. Your national ID. Walk with all of those things. See you Thursday. The list will be published tomorrow on social media. And once again, it's only for those who have issues with TRN we'll be dealing with first. For those of you who got assessed and are here not yet, just sit back and wait and just be a little bit more patient. Thank you. See you Thursday and Friday.